Welcome all. I don't have any particular agenda, or anybody's welcome to speak, and we can see what comes up in relation to that. So hi, Lucy. You need to unmute if you want to speak now. Okay, good. Yeah, you're unmuted. Perfect.
Thank you, Isaac, for making this possible for us.
Very welcome. Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. It's interesting times to navigate.
Yeah, what really strikes me often is the apparent fact that there seem to be different realities.
Very much so, yes.
And yeah, so for me, I can feel it in my gut, what is true for me. And I just become more and more true to that.
Yes.
But then I'm in the middle of Amsterdam and I leave my house and I meet this other reality. And it's almost like science fiction sometimes.
You know, I saw a very well written article about what's happening, like a mass psychosis that's going on. You know, when people get bombarded with fear for a long time and isolation and all these rules and stuff like that, there's a way that it's very difficult to speak into that. And this guy was, you know, like was speaking about the only thing that where there's some entryway is if there's a bigger threat. And so, you know, the losing our freedoms is enough to break that trance for some. But yeah, it is just, you know, it's like so many people, like you ask people in the street, should, you know, should there be compulsory jabs? A lot of people just say yes, there should be, and they've lost sight of many things. You could say they've like gotten, their nervous system is not thinking clearly anymore because of this phenomena. And it's, you know, it's a very well planned, how can I say, invitation. And it's interesting to see. Some people just know it in their gut. They don't even need to look at all the facts and experts. They just know. They sense it and they feel it. Some people do get, you could say, they're open to hearing from people that are giving you could say, risking their careers and really out there to inform people. But many people just can't even hear it. It's just like it's not even possible, no matter what experts you present or whatever. It's just it's difficult to get through. So those are the times we live in. And but at the same time, you know, there's like, for me, there's a deep knowing that this intelligence that's moving as every cell in every body, as every tree, as the whole universe, so to speak, is actually playing every part in this circumstance. And it seems like it's an opportunity for things that wouldn't normally come into view to come into view. And so I think all of us have benefited from seeing some of our, how can I say, the collective shadow and where it's gone into separation in us. And so, yeah, it's like, of course, you know, I see many courageous people standing up, and I just saw the Mountie in Canada that was in charge of protecting Trudeau just resigned. And he speaks so heartfeltly of what he sees going on. And it's clear and it's beautiful. So there's a lot of people really, you know, coming out, risking everything. Also, one of the top surgeons in the American Army that examines pilots has spoken very clearly. So there's truth is coming through, but yet you know, there's the whole momentum of the agenda, and it's beautiful that we can find our community, so to speak, so we're not alone, and hold the line, you know, just hold the line, support each other. Doesn't matter what the personal choices are around getting jabbed or not. That's not the real issue. It's just staying connected, and I would say staying with freedom of choice, everyone respecting everybody's life, their how it moves for them. And yeah, just as you know, you're navigating life, because we feel the amount of fear that's in the field from something that has actually more and more evidence is coming out that it's not that, you know, it's hype. But yet the amount of fear that's being promoted, we feel it because it's in the field. And it's interesting to learn to surf that without taking it personally, without taking a viewpoint, without just vulnerably being present. And okay, it's like this. This is what's happening in our human family. It'll pass. It's not the first time. It certainly won't be the last time. And we're here. That's it.
Yeah, sometimes I can feel really powerless.
Yeah, for
because,
sure.
you know, like I'm not going out into big demonstrations, for instance, because, yeah, physically I don't feel up to that.
Yeah.
So then it's like, yeah, how can I contribute? And
Just
then
by being.
it's exactly then
just by being.
I make myself as beautiful as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm just here. And I'm
Yeah.
a little bit rebellious, and I don't put on a mask when I go into a shop. And then sometimes somebody tells me to put it on, and then I smile and I say, I can't tolerate it. And it's, you know, it's very subtle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's
Beautiful.
true. It's true. And
Yeah.
I'm not willing to fight over it or to get angry. But yeah, that's the way. And then I race around on my little red scooter, and yeah, I'm free, and that's what I contribute.
Yeah. 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 You know, I don't think there's any right way or wrong way to contribute. The fact that your interest is in being of, you know, available to the field in a loving, present way is beautiful, in my view, anyway.
Yeah, so when the idea is having to start a revolution, then it's like, oh my God, I'm nobody. What can I do? But when it comes to being here right now, that's everything. I give myself fully.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's interesting where we find ourselves and what we feel called to. And I don't think that's really up to us. That's just keeping quiet and listening. Yeah. And if, you know, you're meant to be at a rally on your scooter, you will be. And if you're not meant, you'll be at home. It's just like that. It's, yeah. There's no should or anything about it. It's just getting quiet enough to listen. That's all. Hi guys, I think the guys are in the hot tub. If you can go around.
Oh, can we join? That sounds great.
My son is here, so all these friends over all the time, and yeah, yeah. Great, Lucy, thanks.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, beauty. There was another lady that had, I think Loretta, you had your hand up. Did you still want to speak? Yeah, please. On the bottom left of your screen, there's a little red button. Yeah, that unmutes you. Long time no seen. Yeah, I hear you. Good to see you.
Hi, Isaac. I always have you in my heart.
That's yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think this like not taking it personally is something that I have to keep reminding myself
Yeah.
of constant. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, also the information. I think it's really important, to be informed, and at the same time, if I get too involved, then I notice that I go into depression. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it can become almost like an addiction to watch every single video that everybody sends you. Like I get sent probably, I'm not sure, 20 videos a day. I just don't have enough time in the day to watch them all. So I pick and choose. And, I guess the gist of it is that there is early prevention and for and this um, everything's not as it's spoken on mainstream, and there's an agenda behind. If you know that, you know everything.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
perfect plan. It's like a perfect plan, but it's just so, I think it's so distressing. It's so distressing to this mass, as you say, this mass psychosis, and even friends from, that I would have never thought would be so adamant with this vaccination thing. Yeah, my children have been vaccinated, and all one can do in I think in situations like that, there are this hydroclock, what's it called, CDL, it's called in German, that helps, that can deal with this protein spike, so that at least that is out of the body. Yeah, this CDL hydroclock. I can't remember those long names, but
yeah.
in general, so then I tell myself, okay, if we don't have a choice, in what's happening, and this is all an illusion, then everybody's just doing whatever their program is, and even this mass hypnosis or psychosis, or this mass plan, is that also part of this universal, that what's going on? Yeah, is that what I ask myself sometimes? Yeah.
It's like if we look at the history of man, womankind, humankind, so to speak, yeah, there's been waves of different, I could say, expressions. And so we're finding ourselves at this time, we've been a very lucky generation in some ways. We haven't had, at least in the West, haven't had major conflicts. Some countries haven't been so lucky. And so now we are involved, and it feels like a world war. And then it's an opportunity to so gently explore what comes up. Where does it go into judgments, polarity, all those beautiful movements that can so easily happen? Where does it go into fear? And it's okay if it does, it's not like it's wrong, it's bad, it's just an opportunity to explore. And like you say, it's interesting because family members, people you would never have thought of, that, and like oftentimes when it's someone is touched in an existential way, they come at us from fight, flight, or freeze, and it's learning to surf that is part of our journey, because that's what's kind of our interest is. So I'm reminded of a story, one time when at Ramana Ashram, when Ramana was sitting with a few people in meditation hall, and some thieves came and they were throwing rocks on the roof. So Ramana sent someone out to find out what they wanted, and they said, "Oh, we want to steal what's in the hall." And Ramana said, "You don't have to steal; you can just take it." And they said, "No, we don't feel comfortable doing that. You have to leave the hall." And so Ramana said, "Okay." And so he invited all the people in there to come outside with him. And when they came outside, one of the would-be thieves, struck Ramana, and the people that were with him wanted to attack this guy. And he said, "Look, they've got their journey, you've got yours. Stay true to your journey. Let them leave their journey to them." And for me, I found it very beautiful how he moved in that circumstance. Just everyone has, it looks like everyone, as if there's individuals, but just feeling the journey of the human psyche, of consciousness playing itself out in all its different facets.
So take it as an opportunity to see deeper.
To me, it seems like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean not, like to me, the other story is when, the Upanishads, when Krishna went to Arjuna, who was the warrior of the land, and he said, "Look, we have to go to war." And Arjuna said, "No, but these are my uncles and aunts and cousins and friends." And Krishna had the ability to show him what would happen if they didn't go to war. And Arjuna said, "Oh, well, then we have to go to war." And Krishna, being the Krishna consciousness, I'll take it, said, "I'll be your charioteer." And they went and they prevailed. So it's not about not fighting or not standing up, but using it always as an opportunity, whichever way it expresses itself.
Right, and whatever impulse comes will come, no? And
exactly. And we don't have to think about it, or it just, my sense is, our common interest is to be at peace, to be peace itself. And from that peace, allow, available, you could say, to play your part, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you, Isaac. Thank you.
Yeah. And you don't have to agree with me. You're welcome to have a different perspective. Yeah, we're here just humans exploring, being in these, surfing these waves that are happening. And with luck, staying true to our, our primary interest. Stephen.
Ah, Thank you, Aja.
Hey,
Beautiful to see you.
yeah, good to see you too. Long time. It's great.
5 years. Yeah.
Wow. It goes like that. Eh? It's like no time. Yeah.
Yeah. Touches my heart.
Yes.
From the three types of reactions, flight, freeze, fight, I'm more a fighter, at least from the inside. That's my inclination. I'm getting very stubborn and absolutely unwilling to comply.
Can I just slow that down for 1 second? That response has nothing to do with you. It's a trauma response. It's not something that you choose or decide.
No.
It's just how whatever undigested trauma is in the system, how it responds.
Yes.
And it's good to see that it's not you, in my view anyway. It's just,
Still, I was quite happy you added to the Arjuna story.
Yes.
As a balance, really, because it's yes, I acknowledge what you're saying about the trauma response. It's a deep response which always comes up, but in a way I have to navigate that, huh? And actually I quite like it to navigate that.
Yes.
To explore it and in a life supportive way, sort of.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah.
So I have quite a lot of conflicts in my life generally. I'm still with Peggy, by the way, and Peggy Elmore, and
happy to hear.
Yes, and it even conflicts work very well between us because we've in a way it brought us to a deeper place.
Yes.
So, but actually, I'm just sharing. It's don't have a special point to make. Just
no, I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, where will it bring us? This whole COVID Corona thing.
It's it's hard to predict. I mean, to me, it seems like I think many of us recognize that the present financial system is not human or planet friendly. Neither is the political system. And the way we've been functioning, the earth can't support it, basically. And so we know that we're in a time of change. And so it's like whether this change happens in a sweet way that starts to be life affirmative and honoring. And I know if it was up to me which way it would go, but we just have to play our parts and see what happens. But it seems like to meet like this and to have a sense of community and a sense of company in whatever's happening, just holding each other's hands, and that's already valuable. And so, but I think, it's like, at least in this area, people are getting together and looking at intentional communities and growing their own food and coming out of the system and having to reinvent themselves because many people are not going for the jab and so they have to reinvent their way of making a living because if they don't do that, they lose their job. So thousands, nurses, doctors, police, you know, all across the board are opting out of it, and then, you know, starting to look to see how to come into something new that's actually more life affirmative. And yeah, it's interesting times. It's strong times, and it's
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is this, you know, like on the one hand, you see like in Austria where they want to go into really mandatory vaccination. I mean, some places of the world are really heavy.
Yeah.
And some places people are, I mean, like in Australia now, literally millions of people are taken to the streets on a regular basis. So maybe that'll happen worldwide. And in some places, you know, like where they're using ivermectin, like the cases have dropped down, and I mean, it's sure it's shaken up the culture and people's thinking. But yeah, like I've got friends in Mexico, and it's pretty mellow in Mexico, and India, you know, from huge number of cases with the ivermectin that's almost dropped away to nothing.
Still, Isaac, I also feel there's always also the challenge to remain very sober
Yes.
in what's going on, because it's easy to pick and choose certain stories which sort of fit our view of the world, and so I'm really try to be as cool and objective as well, sort of,
of course,
to everything which is going on.
Yeah, you know, for me, there's a few key people that have consistently through this whole thing spoken in my view in a very informed and clear way. And so I like to listen to them, like, you know, like this, from the perspective of tyranny. There's, and you could say this, the economic reset that goes in the direction of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Then there's always using everything to go in that direction. So now Omicron, the new big thing, but you know, when I look at people that are really knowledgeable, they say, look, it's actually, it's more contagious, but actually the effects are much less than and that's the normal route of any virus, is that that's the way it goes. And so it actually is a good thing because it provides herd immunity. So that's the information I have. Whether or not it's 100%, I don't know, but you know, I look at a fair amount of people, and that's my general feeling, I would say. You know, I'm in the high risk group, I'm in the high risk category, and I'm not that concerned, because even in the high risk category, the stats are small, you know. I mean, every time we get in a car or ride a bike, we have a chance of something happening. And you know, with one of the biggest killers on the planet is prescription medicines, and we know that. So it's trying to navigate it in the sane way. I agree with you. It's wonderful if we can, but the best is to have a sense of humor with it. And
yeah, that's a good one.
yeah,
I sometimes forget that one, but that's the that's right. I love that. There's one more thing I wanted to mention. That's the thing of the agenda. But my preferred way of looking at it, it becomes quickly very conspirational. I also know that the World Economic Forum and the reset, etc., etc. I see it myself more as a mindset, which has okay. I'm wondering there. I would like to add, which maybe even has a good intention, but it's coming from a completely wrong place. Even if it has a good intention, I don't think it always has a good intention. But I heard the words like plan and agenda. I'm always a little bit. It brings me very much into conspirational thinking, and I'm not always like that.
I understand. You know, to me, it seems like, have there been conspiracies on this planet?
Yes, yes, yes.
Many, 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 yeah. And so, and, you know, when I look at, in terms of integrity, is Big Pharma known for integrity? Absolutely not. Have they made billions of dollars from this whole story? And is the way they're functioning in integrity? To me, it's so clearly that it's not, you know. And then I look at, you know, the financial system. You know, we know that the major wars have been financed, both sides have been financed by the same people. So have there been conspiracies? Yes. Do you think they just disappeared overnight? I don't think so. You know, has the American government been involved in overthrowing people that weren't, you know, countries that weren't functioning in their best interest? Absolutely. We have ample evidence of it. So to me, the conspiracy story doesn't bother me so much, because I know that it's, you know, that's going on. Are there people that sit in rooms and do, you know, all the spy stories and all the shit? Yes, it happens. It's going on. Are there hackers that give crazy information? Look, it's all going on. There's a way of getting, how could I say, crazy around it. But there's a way of just acknowledging, yes, that is part of the human psyche, that people function like that. It's maybe at some point, you know, we'll evolve to a point of transparency and honesty. And if that comes out of this, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So to me, you know, the difficulty is that conspiracy has been made a dirty word. That's you know, it's like it's used to like kind of dismiss, but to me, it's just a word to say where people come together and they plan stuff that's not transparent and that doesn't have everyone's best interest. That's all it is. That's what the word means. Yeah, but then it gets kind of crazy, you know, this QAnon stuff, and I don't know, it can get kind of out of balance.
Yeah, yeah, that's
People get lost in it. Yeah.
for me the thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice
Well,
to have our
thank you,
feet on the
Isaac.
ground.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Isaac, for
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Stephen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And all of
Wonderful.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll mute myself. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. My internet's a bit slow, so not everybody's picture has come back yet. So if you wave your hand and I didn't see you, that's the reason. It's starting to come back now. Liliana.
Hey.
Hi.
So very interesting to see that trauma response that I can acknowledge or understand myself. And it's very funny how I've noticed staying in the heart and in all that is to where I'm at, to where this system is at. Nothing affects you. Nothing is, it's just pure beauty.
You know, just a really subtle inquiry. When we talk about staying in the heart, the heart would never talk about staying in the heart. What is it that, so, you know, it's like
it's the attention being placed.
The attention,
in that
so
space.
because otherwise it sounds like there's a you that's staying in the heart, you know. It's just the attention rests in a way that acknowledges what it always is.
And but sitting in a meeting with all the, you know, like a whole company meeting, and they say we have to do the vaccination, you know, then there's a knot in the stomach, and it's like, no, I can't say a word. I can't say a word. So now I'm learning how to
just to recognize that's a freeze response. It's a freeze response. It's like, you know, you're looking at, okay, maybe you're losing your job or whatever the story is, and your system responds because it's existential in nature. And just to recognize it's a freeze response. It's okay.
Oh, that's so lovely. It's so good to hear that. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. Whew.
For some people, it would, you know, the fight, flight, or freeze. One of them will come up, and then it'll be like an argument, and how dare you, and all that. But for many people, will be a freeze response, because it is. It's, look, you can lose your job if you don't go along with this, and then
there's obviously this fear of having to be forced, or I'm really yearning to be in nature, away from everything. That's what I really want.
Yeah, so maybe it's time, you know, maybe it's time to look to see how that can happen. Maybe, who knows? You know, there's a yearning, and then you know, the mind will come in and say, oh, it's not, but just if you sense it as a direction, just honor it and then gently explore. Okay, wow. Otherwise it becomes like, oh, you know, plays in a funny way, but okay, that's the love, and you go, yes, that's what I would love. And you're a practical, you've got a lot of grounded practical energy. You can just start to see, what would it take, you know? Can you move out of the city into more rural? Are there other like-minded people? Just start exploring, just like when an interest comes for anything. You get a new car or whatever, you know, it's like, you look to see how much money you have and all the practical things. And
and then, you know, I lived in communism, and it was like all that communism propaganda you lived under, but nobody was taking any notice anymore. But then you become numb, you know, you become so it's interesting.
It's like, you know, this, like surfing this in a conscious way is such a great opportunity, you know, because a lot of the time we just, I could say, functioning automatically and consciously just in our lives, and this is shaking things up in a way that, you know, can bring huge gifts.
That's a beautiful point to make. It really feels so. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Liliana. when things have been shook up, so to speak, there's always an adjustment. So it's an opportunity just to watch, to see how to navigate change. Yeah. Find, okay, how do we, because it'll touch whatever it touches. And then, okay. Gaia.
Hey, yeah. I just want to share how powerful that is to meet with all of you guys here, and I'm so grateful. It's so much encouraging, and I'm really touched, beautifully touched, how strong this group here is. Wow.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I feel it too, because the whole, the movement has been to get everybody isolated. And when we come together and we see we're only interested in meeting beautifully in love and peace and like that. And of course, standing up if that's how, in whatever way that happens. And to see that there's many of us, it's, yeah.
Yeah. So really, thank you for that. That's actually all I wanted to share. And because, yeah, many people somehow split off and go in some kind of spirituality in a funny way, or in that you are an idiot if you not believe what they say. And yeah, and here it's just an honest sharing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Guy. Yeah, that's one of the things that has, for me, been navigating, the painfulness around people's projections and stuff. But I mean, that's always the story in life, to learn how to stay just gently present in the midst of all kinds of
Yeah.
opinions and judgments, and yeah.
And even I know everybody is as he or she is. It touches something. Yeah, if common friends like Gernot or call me an idiot because I don't believe in his agenda plan, yeah, it touches something. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and so of course, and it's okay to be touched. That's part of our humanness. It's just like, to me, I have no aspiration to never be touched. I'm so willing to be touched to my core. Just in more opportunities. Okay, wow, that really touches. Good.
Thank you, man.
Can we just speak or not?
I would invite you just to wave a hand so that we don't all speak at once.
Oh,
But if you'd like to speak, you're welcome to.
Yeah.
I'm laying actually because I feel very tired today. And that is the consequence. Yeah, maybe some people don't believe COVID is not existing, but I have had it very strongly. I had 40-degree fever and my brother was in the EC. I know people who have died from it, even people I know closely. But besides that, I was laying because I have heard and seen on the local TV, people get interviewed who have had COVID and got after the COVID, long COVID. It's not about the lungs, it's about, I have, for example, not so badly consequent.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you,
tired.
Urja, just stop for a second. Please just stop for a second. I'm curious what your interest is, and I'd love you to get to the point, because from experience, you tend to just talk and talk and talk, and it's just the actual energy of the talking is not.
No, it was about touching that I heard saying.
Okay, so what's your interest?
And I felt what is difficult in these days to touch, to hug, to hold people. That's one thing. What is difficult? I don't want to bring all the complaints, but I want to have space to share it. That I don't see many people. Only when I work, I see a lot of people with masks and all these restrictions. But still, there is a connection in between meeting. Especially with children, it's easy to hold them and to touch them. So I feel I also have a need to touch. So I'm happy I'm with children that I can kiss them, hold them, whatever. Because there is a lot of what isn't possible. And also I have close friends there are troubles with, discussions, and I'm also grateful to be touched, but it also makes me confused that I have to make a position before this person or against that person, but I'm just neutral. I have my own vision, and I have had COVID. I was very ill. My brother was in the EC. I know a yoga teacher, her husband died.
Okay, stop again, please. Yeah. Please stop, because now it's going back into just talking. And for me, I'm not interested in that, Urja. I'm interested, if there's something that you'd like to explore, great. But just to listen to you.
What I want to explore is
no, stop. You're not hearing me. Stop. Otherwise, I'll just mute you.
Yeah, no.
I'm happy for you to participate, but please listen to what the invitation is. This is not for you just to tell stories and go on and on. It's not about that.
No, but what touched me is that there is a certain underlying flow that we have to be against something, as if Corona is not existing. But I know people have been ill.
Where did you hear that? Not here.
Or against restrictions about that we have to be home in lockdown. I feel it is a little bit necessary that we do the lockdown, because there is a lot going on.
No problem. I hear that that's what you feel. Good. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, but I hear today we meet to talk about the current events.
Then it's not just to talk about it. It's to be present and to notice what's going on in us around what's going on. I'm not here for people to tell stories. That's not my interest at all.
I want to participate, because you talk about people get psychotic or whatever, living in a mass psychose. And I thought, no, I feel very bright and clear. I feel nearly enlightened, but I just stay to my own truth and I live that. And it's not about having a mask or not a mask. It's about the truth that there is a virus that is an enemy for me, that can be anywhere, taking your life, because I have experienced it, that I felt, oh my God,
okay, I get I
dying.
get that. I get that. That's your. I get that. That's your point of view, Urja. I understand.
It's not about the point of view. I have experienced it, that I felt, oh, I
That's
might go dying. I had
okay.
fear to die, and I want to live.
Urja,
So
this
I
is
need
enough for me.
protection.
Boss, could you, or who, could you please just mute Urja, because I'm not interested in this conversation. I'm sorry, Urja. Like this, I'm not interested. I can't hear you. You're muted. I'm going back to gallery view, Urja. And
But
if you
touch you
unmute,
now then. I want to hear it because I want to have it straight.
there's not a touch. You just don't understand the invitation. I'm sorry.
No,
We've been
but I
around this.
say
We've been,
something and
Urja,
something
we've
is
been
also
here many,
touching
many,
you.
many, many, many times before, and I'm not interested in going into this again with you. I'm just not. This
What
is not
the
an
mistake
inquiry.
then? What is the mistake then now? Tell me.
Take a moment and just reflect. You're usually good at that. So just take a moment and just see.
Now explain then. What do you
I-
see then? What I don't see?
I see that at the moment there's an upset, and that that how it functions in you is that it expresses itself and jumps from thing to thing to thing, and it's just, you know, it's, in my sense, it's abusive. I don't like to listen to that. If there's something that you're really interested in exploring, I'm with you 100%, but not like this. Sorry.
Yeah, but I feel chaotic in my head about the whole topic.
That's okay.
About COVID.
That's okay.
And I
Yes.
can only share my own experience that I was very ill. And that I have to protect myself. For that.
No problem. I get it. Okay, I get it. But that's what's real for you.
Yeah, but it's for many people real. Or is that just a
I
joke?
understand. No, I get that everyone lives in their own reality. Not a problem. I'm not trying to convince you of anything else.
No, but I also don't try to convince you. I only want to share that for me it is true.
I understand. And this is not just about sharing, Urja. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in sharing like that. Boss, please mute it. And if anyone is upset about this way of functioning, it's okay. It's just, for me, this is not what we're here for. I'm happy to hear another
Where are
perspective.
we here for then? Then I have no clue.
Boss, please mute her. Thanks.
I'm not here to please anyway.
I know that. Neither am I. Ah, Christina.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Christina.
I would just like to sit with you.
Oh, most welcome.
And thank you for this extra session today as well. It's very nice to be here. Everyone.
Yeah, I love meeting. I was just looking at, you know, it's like in these times, this is what we have. The opportunity is to meet. And for me, it seems like it's a resource for many of us. And so, yeah, I love to be available like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it when we rest together and then all these subtleties reveal themselves. And yeah, it's exquisite.
Yeah, I noticed when you were talking about changing your life, changing the way you live, there's a little thought like, should I quit my job already? Or should I do more than stay at home? Yeah. And then it's just, like you said, back to being, and that's enough, and trusting that.
Yeah. It's like, I guess we've all know this in this journey of life, where there'll be a direction that keeps knocking on our door, and we don't always listen the first time or the second time or the third time even. And then at some point, it's like there's an inertia that we kind of get over, and it moves, and we go, oh, of course, like that. But it's just how it seems to function in us as humans, like we, at least in me, I know how often I've stayed in something that was not appropriate for me, way past its use by date. And then finally some action happens, and I'm grateful at that point that it happens. But yeah.
Yeah, it functions like that here, that sometimes there's the impatience to already be in the other way, and yet it's not really here now, and trying to honor that without having a tantrum. And everything's fine.
So many nuances, huh? So many nuances. Yeah, so each little bit unravels in its own timing.
Yeah, the divine timing thing has been a big inquiry.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I'm here with you, and I mean, where else do I want to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there has to be no personal will here. That's what I think it's about.
Yeah, so that's revealing, and how beautiful is that? It's like a listening. I don't know how else to say. It's like, where we are out the way, and then
Thank you.
Exquisite. Thank you. Yeah. To mute again. I'm Andy. Andreas. You call yourself Andy sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, hello, Isaac.
Hi.
We're together. This was an interesting conversation for me. This fury which is in us. And this fury you have a lot in the German society right now. And it's somehow wrong directed. This was the feeling that came up in your discussion. And this fury has, it's wrong directed to you in that moment, or in us, or in the group. But if there is the right information in the room, that all the people that really died because of COVID, why was there any, or wasn't there any early treatment? Since 1.5 years we have early treatment.
Exactly.
And this is a fury in the background, which can be rightly directed to.
Yeah.
Oh, and another question would be, all the stuff where this virus came from. These people who worked in Wuhan, they do it as we speak. They make the same bullshit that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There the fury has to be directed, in my view. and it came up in your discussion in me, yeah, to really make it conscious where the fury has to be directed.
Yeah.
And this is
No,
this is a big manipulation game right now, and
Yeah.
a big division in the people, so that you can manipulate the people to get the fury on the unvaccinated people, no?
Yeah, yeah.
This
You know
mechanism,
what
I want to
yeah.
highlight this mechanism, which
Yeah.
got clear in that moment, no?
Yeah. You know what I
Hey,
see, and I
John,
know you know it. I know you know it too. It's like
because I'm not fast.
there's a point where we can talk, and there's a communication that can happen that's useful, and there's a talk where it's just like throwing stuff out. And when it's like that, then there's no speaking possible, really. And so, to me, I just, because we're here together with a common interest, I love to honor that interest and to really keep it on track like that. So that's my function, I could say like that. It's not
I didn't
not
want
personal.
to make anything wrong. It was really
No, you're not.
something.
You're not.
Yeah, no.
Yes. No, you're not. I hear you. I get it. It's a beautiful point.
Mm.
So, yeah.
And yes, a lot of people are dying, but because of what, and where to highlight what has happened, and what are the groups which are against our interest of human beings.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of research in these fields, and for me, I do too. And I see that, people can show you statistics, but then what's really interesting is you hear some people that are able to break those statistics down and actually show you what's behind those statistics. And that's very interesting to me because, how many people are actually getting injured and in what age groups? I mean, because it's related to whether there's comorbidities. There's so many factors that have to be taken into account. It's not, it's just, so it's like, but we're not been given the correct information. Yeah. That's very clear.
And really,
and mainstream,
From my experience, I was 25 years in risk management and industrial product liability. Really, in 2 sentences, I can say, I never have seen in my total career what happened with the jabs and how they do it, how they make contracts. All these things never happened before. And I know a lot of stuff, bad stuff in that area. Never had.
Yeah. It's a phenomenon that's going on. It's like so out of integrity on many, many levels. And of course, it confuses people. It really does confuse people because we don't, like you said, this early treatment, it's well documented at this point. And still it's not being spoken about.
Yeah, it's incredible. And also a lot of natural stuff, Ayurvedic stuff helps perfectly. And not a lot of people in India take neem. And it came up with a story that in one town in India, you nearly had any COVID, and they try to manage what happened there, and all the people take neem there. And so it began. And there are tens of stuff now or natural things that help. And nobody speaks about it. That's criminal for me.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, it is, because there's been, I would say that there have been hundreds of thousands of unnecessary deaths.
Yes.
And that's manslaughter or murder, because it's in my view, it's intentional.
And this fury is in the field that this happened for me.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andreas. Najma.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Najma.
Mm. Yeah, it feels very good to be present, to be in this format.
Yeah.
And yeah, just now I on the news here is that journalists found out that doctors are still prescribing forbidden medication. So now these doctors are fined. They're really on them, and that's painful. At the same time, there's been a research from hospital, from doctors from eastern part of Holland, throughout the country, maybe 1,200 people, and ivermectin worked very well, and it worked also very well in the hospital. And yesterday there was a court case, for some people the court case on ivermectin, but still the judge, didn't allow it to happen. And there's many initiatives also in the how you say it, in the chambers to get it through parliament. But there is a steady group of politicians who stop that. But there is, so from both sides,
Movement. Yeah. Good.
And
Thanks
I
for
somehow
speaking.
like to share that I was watching a mic video on which a woman said that her husband, or the man she was with, had died of COVID, but still on his deathbed, he said, "Please don't take the jab." And that touched me very much. And yeah, I see some friends get COVID, and a close friend who was very against everything, and yet I phoned him. I said, "How do you think about things now?" He said, "Of course, I won't take the jab." And my brother had COVID and very severe with oxygen things. And he's really now, like, enemy wise. So it's different from everybody I see. But
Yeah, and my neighbor, his brother just got it, and he drove over there and gave him an ivermectin, and immediately his body responded.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, is because if there's early treatment, it's none of these severe things seem to happen. I mean, I've heard many doctors talk about it, but a lot of people, they either don't have access or they don't know or whatever, and so that's where some information can be really useful. Yeah,
that's true. And just like everybody, thank you very much for the sharing. And I like to share. Yesterday I was in my park with a friend. We both know vaccine, and we met another friend who lives in the street. We both knew him from a long time ago in Sangha, and he said, "I lost all my friends because I see what's happening." And it sometimes can be so inspiring to meet
each other, for sure.
like-minded people, and then it comes very light together somehow. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you, Najma. Yeah, cheers. Oh, very sure.
Hi, Isaac and all.
Uh,
I have a lumbago. I have to lie in bed. um, how? I'm just curious. Practical. How could your son come to Australia?
he has had the vaccination.
Okay.
He lives in LA, and you know, for him, his dream is to be an actor. And
Arun, yeah.
so he, you know, and it's tricky because you know, for me, it's very painful that somehow that's happened for him. But I also understand, you know, and so we're having a few conversations around it, and just it's not an easy topic to bridge the two of us because somehow, you know,
Yeah.
he's got his own perspectives, but we're finding common ground, and I find it beautiful. It's,
Cool. And this vaccination was enough. You didn't.
Yeah,
No
somehow,
test, nothing.
you know, like the rules are changing by the week. I mean, really and truly, it's really crazy. So there was just this little window where he could come in. With luck, he can get out again. That's the big thing. He's here for a few more weeks, and so that's a bit for him worrisome because you know he needs to get back, and but that's the circumstances now. And also part of the, you know, we booked a ticket, and then the airline a couple of times changed the ticket. You know, you have to accept it, or the tickets, they'll give you your money back. But when he arrived in Australia, they told him the way the ticket has been written now, you might have to quarantine for 2, maybe 4 weeks. And so all of a sudden we had to find another ticket to avoid the couple of places that they had put him into. It's tricky, you know, it's like you really have to.
Okay, but the vaccination was enough to enter Australia. No test. Okay, interesting.
No, he had to get a PCR test also before.
Okay, also okay.
Yeah.
Good. Mm-hmm.
But you see, Australia it's like there's different territories in Australia, different states.
Yes.
And it was enough to come into New South Wales, but certainly not enough to come into other parts in Australia. And within Australia, people are stuck. They can't get home to their part of Australia that they live in.
I heard about,
So you can't just say Australia. It's not like that. It's
big continent, yes.
Yeah.
So still cool in Finland. I have to report this. They discuss also everything, but in the moment it still looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for it.
And it's so lovely to see people I haven't seen for years. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, thanks. Sudeva, I see you. Cool. And just yeah, good, you got it. Hi.
Hi, Isaac. Yes, it's good to see you.
Yes. Yeah. Nice to make contact the other day too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was your voice, and now it's good to see you, your face.
Yeah.
And I was just, when you talked about your son, I was touched by that, because my daughter, who's not so far away in Perth, about 400 kilometers from where we are, she's also made that decision to have the vaccination. And it is, I just wanted to say, yeah, I feel how that is. It's like you can talk about it or whatever, but wow.
Yeah, yeah. You know, especially when you've been watching and seeing what it does to the immune system. And yeah, it's tricky, you know, it's like, when you try to communicate that, a lot of times people don't want to hear it. And but yeah, it's, for me, it's, you know, like the willingness to have your heart broken, but at least it breaks open. It doesn't break shut, you know. So it is heartbreaking. Yeah.
And you know, it is quite, we connect a lot with people in Germany, and then hearing again here, you feel how it's probably much easier to get stressed by the situation because the squeeze over there feels more here. Although in Western Australia, there's lots of restrictions on work, but the actual ordinary everyday life doesn't feel much different than it always did.
I
So
know,
we
but
have this
then you take
blessing.
places like Victoria, where people were locked up for 2 years, allowed out of their homes for 1 hour a day. I mean, man, that's radical. That's house arrest. Yeah.
Yes, and it might change any moment because here certainly the perspective of the government is very intense.
Yeah.
It's just there is no COVID here, so there's nothing for them to react to.
Yeah, you know, but that's the trouble, is that they don't need anything to react to. They just need to set the PCR test at a higher rate, and they can find whatever the fuck they want. You know, it's like, it's a funny game.
Yes, and one doesn't actually know which particular variation of the game is going on here.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
and yeah,
to me,
ivermectin is certainly hard to get here.
Yeah. To me, it's a very well orchestrated plan that's been going on for years. I mean, there's evidence that they started this in 2012, the planning for this whole thing, and you know, where there were patents taken out on things. I mean, like, if you start to go down that, you can start to find this is not a lightweight thing that's going on. It's, yeah. So,
well, if you go right back at the time Kennedy was assassinated, the CIA came up with this phrase conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
They created in order to debunk it. So
exactly.
it's endless. And on the other side, you know, here in Australia, not down in the south, but I guess where you are, neem is growing wild everywhere. It's a weed. It's very easy to get, to also to buy it in Australia. And in Germany, pine needles. We have friends who just go out and gather pine needles from the trees.
Yeah, I've heard
do this pine
needle tea. The pine needle stuff, I've heard some different information around that you know, because it's got turpentine in it, like, and again, I might not be using the correct thing, but it's something that needs to be, you need to be aware of. So it's yeah.
No, I didn't know that, and I don't know what we heard is that you have to make it in an espresso machine, and then you get the...
That's the star anise.
Oh, I'm on the wrong one.
that would be the star anise or fennel, prepared in a little espresso machine. It needs the 15 bar pressure in order to work. And several friends have reported to us directly how that helped them, that are people that had a definite
positive
two
test,
were affected by COVID, and the others had a vaccination damage, which was testified even by German doctors. And in both cases, in all these cases, they reported personally to us that the star anise through the espresso machine was really helpful, also pretty much
fantastic.
immediately. So that
Fantastic.
was, I will put that on your friends
Facebook page.
page.
Yeah. Yeah,
Stuff,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's then people have a resource. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Life, huh? In all its glory, in all its different manifestation. My God. Yeah, I mean, there is so much going on so many different levels. It's just like, yeah. I mean, what this has brought for me is an understanding or a deeper understanding of common law, which is in Australia is which I didn't really know about before, and it's fantastic to have an idea about that at least, and to see that and to hear that the actual current government in Australia is treasonous. So I mean, there's many levels that this is going on. So yes, things are coming to the light, and I think that's great. Let's see where it goes. I mean, we just play our part and see. Yeah.
Yes, and I find it fascinating that I get challenged on realizing what strong ideas I have had or what strong projections on certain, what I saw as very right-wing politicians in Australia, and suddenly finding, oh my God, I'm on the same side as them. And that's like an amazing turnaround and blast some structures away that have been there forever and were planted long ago by my parents.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's part of what's happening in my view, is that this whole left and right wing story is starting to break down, because it's more, like,
Yeah.
there's been the illusion of you choosing left or right, and that actually at a certain level they're all working together, and it's like starting to see, wait a second, let's peel back the curtain, and then there are some people entering the arena now that, to my sense, have integrity, like Ricardo Bossi. I don't know if you've watched any of his talks. He's fantastic. Ricardo Bossi, well worth looking at him.
Okay.
Yeah, ex-military man, and he speaks it like it is. He's inspirational. Cool. Love, peace, beauty. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, great to see you.
How are we doing time-wise? Oh, we have a few more minutes. Yeah, I really appreciate all of you showing up. It's beautiful to have space together, and yes, to speak vulnerably and really together. Love to all. Thank you, Bas, for hosting. And thank you all for being here. Love, peace, beauty. Yeah. Ciao for now.
Thank you so much.